All right, growth season community. I don't know if I could be any more excited than I am right now. I know I always say it, but I'm so excited right now. Today, we are joined by Lola Moore Johnston. I'm going to read you just a little bit, but I want you to listen as I tell you a little bit about our guest today. She's a motivational speaker who specializes in helping women chart the course. That's amazing. Chart their course toward discovering their life's purpose. A charismatic and multi-talented leader, speaker, and performance artist. She's dedicated to her personal mission of impacting lives. That's what we're here for, family. Impacting lives for the better. Each time that she takes the stage, not only that, family, but she's earned over a decade of experience teaching, training, and inspiring audiences across the United States and around the world. And family, we have her here today for you. Growth Season community, please welcome Lola Moore Johnston. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. It's great to be here with you, Season. I'm so excited to be a part of this conversation today.
Yes, me too. I'm really glad that you're here. When you accepted the invitation, I went on Facebook and I said, she said yes. I had to tell people, no, I was not proposing to anyone, but
Oh my goodness.
Well, Lola, you are a multi-talented woman. Not just that, but you're a multi-talented woman of God. And I think that there are amazing things that you seem to be doing for other people in the midst of their growth process and their growth seasons as well. And I really want to dive right in. I'm going to read this, and I would like you to tell me how you ended up actually answering this question as we dive back in. You said, I've had the opportunity to speak to hundreds of women who have struggled with several challenges that ignite my own passion: negative beliefs, lack of clarity as to their pathway to their best selves, as well as, and this one is a big one, fear and stagnation around change and transition. And I wondered, how am I wired to assist these women on their journey?
hmm
How did you answer that question?
You know, for me, I continually look back at my own life and the way that God has led me through seasons of my own stagnation.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the big takeaways, and this might take us to the left or right here, is that I realized that the largest obstacle for progress for me was my own mindset.
Mm.
That I didn't actually have a tangible obstacle there, but that my mind was not ready to take steps forward. And so, as I crystallized my thoughts and process around that and began to communicate that with other people, I could see light bulbs going off for them where they could see that their own thinking was a major inhibitor for progress and growth.
I'm going to write that down. So their thinking is a major inhibitor, and I would have to testify to that being the truth. There's a lot that I've had to overcome in becoming sober in my life, and over a decade of sobriety. It's this constant hurdle of rewiring the lies, rewiring what the truth is about who I am, what I'm capable of. And I know that so much of our community really resonates with that, because the people that are listening are interested in growth, but they're not interested in the heaviness of, you need to grow because you're not doing this and that, which also bogs us down, right?
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
so I'm just going to circle back briefly. Tell me how, tell the community how you were in college. You have decided at this point, you're like, these things are clicking for me. How did you end up where you are today? Give us a little bit of background of who you are and what led to your desire to serve people in this way.
And I think at every turn when we talk about this, it's really going to literally be my own journey and how my faith and my connection with God led me through these periods. Season, I could tell you about 20 different occasions where I walked into our guidance office there at La Sierra and tried to declare a different major. I probably changed my major no less than 15 times
Oh,
during the
yeah.
4 years I was there. I remember being right at the edge of graduation and just about to change my major again when my advisor looked at my transcript and said, "You really could go in any direction here, but let me
Not
just,
helping me.
yeah, but let me just advise you to just graduate and move forward." Um, because I really was not sure where to go. I had so many different life experiences, so many different interests that I really wasn't sure how to crystallize it. And because I was multi passionate and multi talented, I did several different things in school. Um, God led me on a journey where someone just gave me a job as a chaplain. It was, and he just gave me a job. I said, okay. I did the job for a little while, and I said, okay, this is not it. It's too heavy. It's too heavy. Most of us go through a season of grief once in a while, but in chaplaincy, you're walking with people through those seasons of grief 3 or 4 times a day, every
Yeah.
day. And I just
Yeah.
wasn't built for that.
Some people are. It just
Some people
was a
are,
process. You figured out, nope, not me.
yeah. And so I decided that I was going to leave chaplaincy. I was going to leave ministry, become a speech pathologist. And as I tried to move in that direction, the door was closed, and I got a call from the seminary where I had already applied, and they said at any point in time you can come. And I went. you know, I didn't have the
Yeah.
presence of mind to sit down and chart a course. And so a course was charted for me.
I think that's really, really important. It's really important because some people really are able to go, I want this, this, this. But
Mhm.
some people, I've often said to the community, if I had ever charted my course or decided, I would not have decided to be where I am today.
Yes, I would absolutely not be here. Right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, question for you. You said that the counselor for the college said, listen, just graduate and move forward. And then the
Yes.
next words were, I was not sure where to go.
Mhm.
So, can we talk about how do you move forward when you're walking in uncertainty?
This is great. This is a great place
Okay.
for a
I'm glad.
lot of us here because when we have multiple options, as you said earlier, we become overwhelmed and we find ourselves overthinking. I find myself overthinking. Let me add that, or let me
It's
own
okay. You're
that for
not alone.
myself.
You're not alone.
But I have learned that when I pay attention to what is happening around me, when I am cognizant of what need is there or what passion I feel, then oftentimes that is a leading to what is next.
I like it.
Getting out of my head, getting out of the knots that I have tied around myself, trying to figure out what the future is,
Mhm.
and being present in this moment to say, where is my heart right now? Where is my desire? And or because sometimes we don't even know what our desire is, right? We can have several different passions. So let's try a few things then. And I want to also give someone permission for exploration and play. You can
Yes.
you can you can take the time to actually try a few things out and see what feels good.
So I love this. You're mentioning, and we're just kind of tiptoeing into this topic here. You're saying um, it's okay to not know exactly right now. There's two
Right.
things. We're tiptoeing into the fact that you coach people, that
Hmm.
you're not only a minister, you coach people. You are an author. You have I just I've signed up for my 14-day journal. I'm in. We're going to do some fun things, but I just, there's so much that you do, but we're starting to tiptoe into that area where you're like, listen, this is how I help people. Go ahead and do this, or you assess where someone is. My question to you, and you started to mention it, it's okay not to know what your desire is. So
Hmm.
many people these days are follow your dreams, follow your dreams. There is an entire group of people across classes, races, groups, peoples, genders that have never been told that they could dream.
Yes.
And so it's like, I'd love to follow my dreams. What are they?
Right. Yes. Can I use an example?
Please.
And I am assuming that the people who are listening to us today are people who have a knowledge of scripture, but I'm just going to walk it really slow here.
Please do. We have a mixed group, but they know that I love Jesus, and they put up with me anyway.
So in the Bible, there's a character by the name of David. Oh, yeah. We meet him in 2 Samuel. When we meet David, David is a shepherd. He is the youngest of 7 sons, and he's outside as a shepherd writing music. Okay, so there's already some stuff in there, and it's like, okay, this guy has a couple of passions, a couple of abilities. Mm-hmm. We meet this songwriter / shepherd, and he is selected to become a king. Right. Okay, so he goes from a musician and a shepherd to a political figure. Okay. He leaves that scene, and then we meet him again because there's a giant who is bullying God's people. Mm-hmm. And then we learn there that he is a warrior, that he can actually fight. So he then becomes a soldier,
So far we have musician, shepherd, mm-hmm. Political figure, warrior.
Right. And he goes and he uses all of those different pieces there, to live a life that is heralded as one of the most spiritual, connected with God lives, most significant figures in Judaism ever. Yeah. But we can't really pin David down and say that he did one thing, that he had one passion. We don't know what his dreams are. He's just living. We know he has a thing for the ladies.
David.
He's doing all of these different things and really just living life. And he makes adjustments as life calls for them.
Right. He sees what he's doing, even when he's making mistakes. Mm-hmm. Right. He's like, okay, create in me a clean heart, God, and renew a right spirit within me. Like, yikes, that was course correction needed, Father.
Absolutely.
And I really want our community to hear that in the midst of mistakes, there is course correction. If you were supposed to go left and instead you went right, he's with you there too. Okay, family. Yeah. So if you're feeling like, I don't know where I'm supposed to be, if you're pursuing God, I think you're right where you're supposed to be, because he wants you to get there more than you want to get there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, as you said, in the age of Instagram, we've seen people who have become experts in an area. We meet them when they're multimillionaires. I was watching some people today, they're down in the Bahamas right now on a yacht, and I'd like to be there. I'd like to be there. And so we have looked at these uber successful people and believed that in order to achieve that you have to have your stuff written down in a 10-year plan, and that's the way it goes. But there is a value in the organic life that is pliable enough, flexible enough, present enough in the season to be dialed into the need and the passion I have today, which may not be the same passion I had in 2019 before the pandemic. It's different.
It's okay if we change and we grow and we move with our surroundings and we're dealing with the world that's presented right in front of us. But are goals okay?
I think so. Yeah. I think there are appropriate goals. Absolutely. And we also have to own that everyone is different.
Mhm.
Everyone is different. But I remember looking at a study, and I wish I had the study or at my hand,
Mhm.
but the average person will change jobs or careers about 7 times during a lifetime.
Yeah.
So the average person, as we grow, as we mature, I mean, season yourself and myself, there was a period of time where we were young, single,
Right.
no kids, then dating, then engaged, married, settled.
I mean,
Oh,
even if we talk about the time where you and I have been in the same room together previously, I'm part of a program. You were there, you were interviewing. I wasn't even in a lead host role for the
mhm,
television program at the time. I was standing by watching you guys do
mhm.
your thing. And you've grown and the Lord's brought new things in your life. And I've grown and he's done different things. And then here we are again. I mean, we grow with it, but it's almost as if there's a demand in front of us and we grow into the demand. Like there's some sort of how do I say this?
Like
If I
rising to
had
the occasion.
rise to the occasion. Yes,
Mhm,
ma'am. Thank you. That's exactly it. We rise to the occasion. The question is, when we see the occasion we need to rise to, are we going to step into it or are we going to step away from it?
mhm. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't.
Yeah.
And I think that that's life. There are some moments, that I do mentally go back to where I wish I had the wherewithal to rise to an occasion in a previous season.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Perhaps because of fear, perhaps because I wasn't fully sure that I could do it. Like, I lacked the confidence. Sometimes I did not know. I honestly did not know how to do what an occasion was asking me for. But, because you gave me the green light for faith, I believe that God redeems time. That means
You sure does.
that even though there are moments in our past that we might not be proud of, or moments that we wish we would have taken better ownership of, those moments come back around.
Hmm.
They do, and the I think the task that we have is not to worship the moment, any
I
moment,
like that.
you know to understand that as long as we have life, there are opportunities to accomplish the greatness that we are um
Called to.
we're called to. Yes,
Yeah, we're
absolutely.
destined in.
Yes.
I really like the idea. It's something I've had to tell myself. Sometimes the Lord will bring us, whatever you want to call it, I call it Jesus, will bring us to a place where he allows a desire to be woken, but it isn't the time to step into that desire. You're like, but I thought you were telling me to, Lord. I had this desire. I thought you put it in my heart, but it didn't pan out. He was like,
Hmm.
yes, but it's not yet.
Right.
Giving you something to move towards. Don't worry, I'll bring it back around.
Right.
And so we feel like we've missed out. And I think that's just condemnation. And so many of us just pick it up like it's breathing air, like, oh, shame and condemnation. I'll pile that all over me. But we forget that we serve a sovereign God. He knows
Yes.
exactly. And he knew that we would or wouldn't. And he's made provision for that. Right.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I love what you're saying. It's encouraging to my heart, thinking back, and it helps me to draw upon, and it affirms some of the things that I've told myself and that I've heard as well. And I'm hoping that for the growth season community family, if you feel like you've missed it, don't. I don't know how else to put that. If you feel like you've missed it, don't. Lola, what would you
Mhm.
say to somebody who feels like they've missed it?
I would use that as fuel to never miss it again.
Oh yeah.
You know, if you weren't ready before, ensure that you're ready moving forward. I will never miss a moment like that again.
I love it.
Yes.
Fuel. So let's circle back to your coaching. Now, you engage with someone, you're helping them to figure out what might be fuel, what might be fire, what might need to come or go. You're from what I'm understanding, from what I've seen and talking to you a little bit, you engage with a single person, or are you engaging with groups, or is it both?
So I've been primarily working with groups.
Okay.
I do occasionally work with people one on one, but I find that the group dynamic is so great because it offers peer to peer coaching, not just my own experience.
We
So
love it.
we've had people of different generations, of different, gift mixes and career backgrounds who can speak to things together. And that's just been amazing. So
I love
I'm
it.
sorry, go ahead.
So no, that's okay. So the reason I'm asking is, if it's one-on-one or if it's in a group, when you begin to work together, they're growth minded. They're wanting to be able to move into something. What is the adjustment period like inside that group as they're building trust and opening up? What do you see happening in those initial stages of growth for the community that you serve?
So the initial stages that I've witnessed usually begin with processing the past, processing, namely, as you said, those moments that seem to have been missed, opportunities that were missed, and calling that people believe that they have squandered. And so it's dealing with guilt, shame, and processing those things. And in we infuse grace in our process so people understand that fear is normal, that failure is normal, but those are not final. Oh, I like that. I'm gonna write that
Hey, write it down.
down.
Write it down. We'll come back to the podcast and
Right.
you guys hashtag that, okay?
Yeah. It's not final.
It's not
Um,
final.
yeah.
I
And
love that.
so once people start to understand that that call is still good, it's still relevant, then we take them through some steps and processes for how to approach their call, their gift. And then we take them through a process that I call purpose planning, where we have a controlled environment where they can dream toward the future.
I love
And we
it.
put some things in place to help them to start to reach toward their goals. So you said earlier, is it good to have goals or is it okay to have goals? I think so. I think goals push us forward,
Mhm,
whereas regret can pull us backward.
mhm.
Those goals keep stretching us forward and help us to reach out to what's ahead, to develop the gifts, to shake off fear and things like that. So that's kind of what our process looks like. Trying to put together a controlled environment for people to dream and move forward.
I love that. And so, family, just so you know, you can go to the website. Tell me the website, please.
They can find me at lolajohnston.com.
LolaJohnston.com.
And on Facebook, we use the name the Bloom Movement,
I love
which
it.
is, yeah. I mean, it's a lot like the growth season. It's almost
Mm.
synonymous, right?
Yeah, I like
Um,
it. I think that Jesus works in seasons, times and
mhm,
seasons, and even eras. I feel like we're in a bit of a new era right now.
absolutely.
Yeah, some new things going on. And I'm going to jump around just a little bit.
No problem.
So, family, you can go to her website. Something that I had an opportunity to do today. Who knows? Maybe Lola will let us do something together, and we can preview a couple days.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
Let's go then.
Awesome.
So here's the thing. You can hop in, click on gift, you can put in your email, your name, etc., and she'll send you a free download. It looks amazing. I'm going to be taking a look at it as soon as we're done here today.
Very nice.
So I was kind of, social media stalking you, checking out the website. And I know that we had met previously, but I was looking for what's going on now.
Mhm.
I saw a couple different things, and I'm just going to rattle some names off. I want the community to kind of get, we've been talking about some specific things, but I want them to understand a more overall view of who we're talking to today. There is a Bloom conference that's incoming,
Mhm.
right? So
Yes.
hold on for your hats, family. There's a Bloom conference that's coming. There's the 14-day purpose project. We talked about that. That's the free downloadable book. There is a book called Pursued, as well as, you guys, I almost fell over when I saw it. Bloom in the Dark. Oh,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I
You are all over my neighborhood. I was like,
yes.
listen, there was power in the tomb, people, before the stone rolled
Mhm.
away.
Yes.
Winter cometh, but there is fireworks going on underground. You know what I mean?
Yes,
How much
yes,
power is in the darkness before
love
we see
it,
it come out of the ground? Lola,
love
I
it.
was like, bloom in the dark. Okay, I'll calm down. I'll calm down.
Love it.
And then there's Purpose Incubator.
Hmm.
Pick your favorite. I don't know. It's probably impossible to do this. Tell me about some of these resources, some of these amazing things that you have to offer for the community, because
Sure,
it sounds beautiful.
sure. So I'll start with the Bloom conferences,
Mhm.
which Bloom in the Dark is one of them. I love the Bloom conference because I get an opportunity to interact with a community of people from all different backgrounds who are intrigued by this notion of blooming.
Yes.
I love the process of a flower, going from this little seedling to a whole bloom. And so, what's incredible about flowers is that they start off in the dark, right? And then as they mature, they come out into the light, and it's this whole big thing. And I think that we are the same way. And so the Bloom Conference is where we gather women who have incredible stories, who come and share with us, beginning with their painful experiences. They walk us through how they were able to bloom. And it has been tremendous
You're
to
never going to get rid of
hear.
me.
Oh my goodness.
You're never going to get rid of me.
It's been incredible to hear
Oh.
the
Mhm.
stories of these women who, you would interact with and not really know all that they have gone through, but
Exactly.
then they begin to tell their story. And as they share, you can even sometimes see the speaker having breakthrough and aha moments, because we're framing it in this place where all of it was purposeful. Like,
Mhm.
there was purpose in all of it. Um, you know, um, TD Jakes has this sermon where he talks about the fact that God doesn't waste anything. God doesn't waste a moment. God doesn't waste a trauma or a trial. He doesn't waste a loss. Like, he uses all of it. And through these stories, we hear how God brought them through. We were listening to one story in the Bloom in the Dark conference of a woman who you may have interviewed or may have been a part of the previous program, who lost her son. And
Simona,
yes,
Mrs.
absolutely.
Watts. We
Yes,
don't know
that's
each other well, but I know her story, and
yes.
I have been floored. Family, Simona Watts. Maybe she'll do me the honor one day. Um, yeah,
Amazing story. And
yeah.
she shared, which, since she's probably going to be on this podcast, I won't tell her whole story.
Right. Well,
But
yeah. Well, let's
yeah.
hope she would. Right.
But she was able to share how she found purpose in that moment. And it's like, well, how? The one of the worst experiences that any parent could go through, but to see how purposeful that is. Another woman who I interviewed, Nona Jones, she is the global leader for faith partnerships for Facebook. And she was a part of our Bloom in the Dark conference. But she shared how she is where she is today, with out of a experience of childhood sexual abuse. And she shared how God delivered her from that to develop her into who she is today. And as these women are telling their stories, you can hear and see women processing their own story and seeing a representation of someone who has gone through sometimes way worse, but who has been able to survive and to find something redeemable about it to move forward. And so that's why I love the Bloom conferences. I mean, they are just wonderful.
It is so powerful. And I think that something that I just, to me, it's everything. It's what you said about finding we're framing it all in purpose. There's purpose in all of it. It's not for nothing. It's not, you're
Mhm.
not being laid to waste for no reason. And it's not that God would cause all things, but he's aware of all things and he can make everything beautiful.
Yes.
I did a talk one time, we were talking, and I said that the title of the talk was Pain is the Process by which he fulfills his promise.
Isn't that
I
something?
mean, if he walked the road, and, for those of you who aren't necessarily familiar with Jesus, that he suffered much abuse before he was crucified and then resurrected. And so there was that struggle and that pain, but he went through that pain so that he could fulfill his promise. And what a promise it is,
Mhm.
the story of redemption and resurrection. There is a section of Philippians chapter 3, and it's my life verse. I'd say that, and probably Hosea chapter 2, but my life verse, Philippians chapter 3, when I got baptized, it was Easter, it was my birthday, and it was my baptismal day.
Well, well.
Well, resurrection is what we're saying here, right? So, and it's this idea that we want to know the power of resurrection. I mean, think about it, carrying around the power that raises people that are dead back to
From the
life.
dead.
Hello, crack the sky. Like, this is no
My
joke,
goodness.
Jesus, right?
Yeah.
But being able to participate in the power of his resurrection, but it also says that we would share in his
In his
suffering.
suffering. Yes.
And we're like, power of resurrection. No, thank you to the suffering. So I love that we're able to, and I can see it in my head, the ladies, the people from all over different, everywhere in the audience, in the community for the Bloom Conference, processing that they're not alone,
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
there might actually be something that could come out of it that isn't just pain and struggle and torture in their minds.
Yeah.
It's the truth. Family,
Yeah.
if you have gone through something, it is not for nothing. Keep listening. Keep listening. If you don't want to listen to the podcast, which I hope you do, but go to the Word of God, find somebody's story that you can resonate with. Write your own down. There's so much that we can do. So I love this. The Bloom Conference, Bloom in the Dark, we've talked about. The Purpose Incubator. Tell me a little bit about the Purpose Incubator.
So the Purpose Incubator and the Purpose Project are two different smaller group processes.
Mm-hmm.
So they are primarily populated with people who have come through the Bloom Conference
Mm-hmm.
and who want a smaller community to be able to tease out what their particular purpose is. They might have a hint of purpose, but they might be asking themselves, so what's next? Now that I've, realized that all of this is for a purpose, what do I do now? And so the Purpose Project takes them through 2 weeks where we are using time together, going through scripture to help them to start to reignite purpose. So after those 2 weeks, some people do come out of there feeling like they know how to move forward. They're ready to move into their purpose. We've had some amazing stories of women who have started businesses, who have started ministries, who have started to do some amazing, just out of those 14 days.
Okay, we're going to have to circle back. I want to hear one of them.
No problem, no problem. But then the incubator now is just that. This person has a newly discovered purpose, but they need an even smaller group to help them to walk step by step to solidify that purpose. And to find ways to walk it out intentionally. Usually some people, they just don't know the process, and so we walk them through 6 weeks of that process. And again, amazing people who have these ideas about how their lives are able to move into significance in the world. And it's just been wonderful to watch people to grow. It just, is a coming alongside a community to help them to walk into purpose. It's
Yes,
amazing.
I love
Amazing.
it. I love it.
Amazing.
So, when you're working with somewhere, is there a moment when you begin to see it all clicking? Like, what is that like? Describe that
Oh,
time.
yes. I mean, absolutely. I mean, we've seen tears, we've heard shouts, but it's just amazing to see and to hear people who believed that it was over for them, or who believed that they could not prioritize themselves in the lives that they live right now, finding time for themselves, and to believe that they were worthy of pursuing their purpose, which is a big conversation because as women, I don't want to speak for everyone. I've had some people who kind of get on me like, I don't connect with that. But a lot of women, I'll say it that way. A lot
That's
of
okay if you
women.
don't connect with that, you know? Like, okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a lot of women find themselves making themselves second to their families, second at work. There's research that I was listening to, season, that overwhelmingly women who are in leadership positions in corporate America find themselves either not being considered for higher leadership positions or not being able to take them because they have to take a hiatus for family and raising children, which there's no shame there, but they talk about how
People have different paths.
yeah,
Yeah.
they talk about how overwhelmingly men don't even consider that as a choice. They don't consider taking time away from their
If I go
career.
out of town for a weekend to do a conference,
Mhm.
right, and I'm the speaker, if I was a man, and listen, I love my brothers in Christ, being believing in feminine women, believing in women does not mean putting down men. So,
Absolutely.
however, the reality of the landscape that we're in right now is
Right.
that if a man had gone away for that conference to teach, nobody would have asked him, how does your family feel about you being away for so long? Don't your children miss you?
Absolutely. Even though his family may be upended because of it and his children may miss him,
Yes.
but we just don't put that pressure
We
on
don't.
him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Exactly. And it's like, I'll put him in my backpack next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. And there's as many as there are people, there are going to be different scenarios. So we may not be
Mhm.
hitting the nail on the head for you, but I think you can kind of understand what we're getting at statistically. And as Lola, as you are a person who is dealing with a specific group of empowering, they are those that don't feel empowered. Therefore, they're
Right.
going to reach out for it. So
Yes.
that's the group that you are working with most often, and so therefore that's your
Absolutely.
feedback.
Yes.
And so listen, like I said, we know that there's a lot of different types of people, but there are also a lot of different types of shade. So, and so we're just, I think I'll just move on from that because I think that we've been clear about it. It's a different landscape when it comes to men and women sometimes.
Yeah.
And our men need encouragement as well, but
Mhm.
dealing with, and I believe that a majority of the work that you do is specifically geared towards women. Am I right?
Absolutely. That's correct.
Yes. I noticed that in some of the information that's on your website, you referred to, or the website refers to your content, your work, what you provide as approachable. I don't see that very often. So, this might be a silly question, but I can't help but wonder, why is it important that it is approachable?
Well, it's important for me um, because of my own experience where I wanted to reach out to people for help, but I could not find many who would lower the barrier on their personality or on information enough to make that help accessible.
You're just a little bit quieter than you were.
I'm sorry. Let
It's
me make
all right.
sure.
It's all right. Just want to make sure that the community can hear you well.
Can you hear me a little better
I
now?
sure can. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
In the subjects that we're talking about, they're information that's sensitive. These
Mm-hmm.
are dealing with people's insecurities. And if I were not approachable, if I did not use my own story as the foundation for what I do, then people would either assume that I did not understand the journey that they are walking, or sometimes feel shy or not even know that I could provide that kind of information, or that's the type of information or conversation that we could have. And I found myself on many occasions wanting to know information, wanting to understand how certain processes went, even just wanting to process what was happening inside of me
Mhm.
and not really being able to find people who could go there with me. So that's why it's important for me to be approachable, so people know that I can go there with them.
I love that because there are those who obviously have a skill set that they could tell me about, I could learn from, but are
Mhm.
they going to be a safe place?
Yes, right.
Is it going to be overwhelming, like drinking from a fire hose?
Yes.
Is it going to be, for example, if like yourself, you're already a public figure, if you need to go ask for help, there are some things that play into that. So you need to be able to reach out. You're in a place that's established already. You're going to need to be able to reach here,
Yes.
but not everybody is here.
Mhm.
And so I like this. And so this is for folks that are stepping in, they're ready to take a hold of something. They need a little bit of help figuring out what that something is or could be, and maybe some different ways to pull it apart and walk it out.
Mhm.
That's a good way to put it?
Absolutely.
Excellent. In this process of helping people to kind of drum the depths and figure out some of the things that are going on in their lives, have you found that your experience has deepened?
Oh my goodness. Absolutely.
So
Um,
what are your areas of growth in this area as you support and encourage others to their fullest potential?
you know, for one, I found my purpose in helping other people to find theirs. When I talk about the fact that I changed my major 15 times, there was a sense where I felt helter skelter and all over the place. And there's even a little bit of shame in that,
But I'm so glad you said it
you know,
because there's
right.
so many areas of interest. I mean, my mom's amazing. She's an entrepreneur at heart. She's owned multiple companies.
Hmm.
And so, you know, am I'm supposed to have an MDiv by now, or
No,
like am I, we'll see. I appreciate that though. So carry on.
yeah, I mean, so for me, having so many different experiences has finally been revealed to me as the way that I was being prepared for my purpose. You know,
Weaving.
it wasn't
Yeah.
until I met all of those women who had been through all of those experiences, and for me to be able to identify with that,
Hmm.
that I realized that there was validity in my journey, as colorful and as transient as it was. It all comes together, you know? And so for me, it has been affirming. This journey of walking with other women has been affirming and helped to settle my own confidence in what I bring. And I want to also say that, there's some people out there who are like me, where what it is that you're passionate about doesn't have a name yet. It doesn't have a title yet, because it has not existed outside of you.
Mm.
And so there is a way that God has equipped me as a trailblazer, where I am establishing something all my own. I can't go to Instagram and find someone else who does what I do, because it's unique to me. And this is the other place where I love what is happening for us in the social media age and era, where we all have a niche area that is valid, even if there is not a official journey or official college program to get there. you know and
Yes.
and for me, I realized, going back to all of those different, classes that I took, and all those different things that I was trying to make something that didn't exist. I was trying to access something that wasn't ready yet. And so, again, I'm saying all of that to say, there's somebody out there who's like, I'm passionate about this stuff, but there's no books. I can't find a book about it. It's because you're supposed to write the book about it. You can't hear a podcast about it because the podcast is yours.
Yeah.
The type of cuisine that you want to make, that you can't find anything on Pinterest about, is because that's for you to make it. um this is the season where God is birthing new types of skill sets and artistry that the world needs and is looking
Yes.
for.
Yes, it is absolutely a time of the creative by the creator.
Mhm.
And there's a newness that's like a new thing. We have seen the things that need to fall away, that no longer work, as everything has been shifting. Um, there is so much that I want to keep talking about. My goodness, maybe we'll have to have you back again.
I mean, we're
Because
blowing right through your time.
it's good. Please feel free to be free, and to, I love the things that you're talking about. It resonates, and it's like a spring in my heart, like it's just bubbling over. I love
Beautiful.
it. You did answer a question when I sent the invitation to you, and I said, "What is your favorite season?" And you
Mm.
said spring,
Yep,
and I want to know why.
I love it. Well, of course, my business is called Bloom, right? I
Ta-da!
Oh man. Oh, come on. This is going to be good. I'm going to write that down too.
Hmm.
Spring is the season where all that has been going on underground comes to light. Woo! Oh my goodness, that's good. That's
Ladies and
good.
gentlemen, we're done.
Oh, that's good.
It's so good.
Yes.
So maybe you'll do the foreword for my book.
Oh my-
Just kidding. We can both write one.
Beautiful.
Wonderful. So it's where you see all of the work. You know, spring really is, it's like that fury of power bursting from the
Yes.
ground, you
Mhm.
know? But you know what I notice about spring is that it's where tender shoots are as well.
Oh yes.
So
Mhm.
careful cultivation. If you find yourself in a season of new life, growth season, family, remember that it's beautiful and it's exciting, but it's also an
Mhm.
area of careful cultivation, because it's easy to
Absolutely.
step on those shoots.
Yeah. Beautiful. Walk
Lovely.
lightly.
Well, and I'd have to ask you one last question. If you could say spring, winter, fall, summer, if you could label like what season you're in right now in your growth process, I'm sure that when we think about our lives entirely, you're probably summer over here and winter over here, and we're all in different spots here. But if you could pick a general season that you could say that you're in right now, what would that be?
That's a good one.
Are you in full bloom?
I don't think so. I think full bloom is coming.
Mm.
I think I am in the beginning of spring where I do see the tender shoots, the little buds coming out. Um, but I love it because for some people, people would look at me and say, "Oh yeah, that's full bloom." But I'm thinking, on the inside, like, no, there's a lot more to come. So yeah, I think it's right in the beginning of that season, right in
Amen.
the
I would
beginning of
agree.
spring.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what you're going to be doing on behalf of your community, and as well as, just seeing what God's going to do through you. I think it's going to be powerful, and I'm
Mhm.
excited to hear more. I think that I will bid you adieu, but I have a couple of things I would like for you to tell our community. They're like, "Lola, you're awesome. Please, how do I get a hold of you? How do they get a hold of you? One more time, please."
Very nice. Well, of course, Season has referenced it. There is a free 14-day purpose journal that I would love for you to have. You can go to lolajohnston.com/gift and download it there. Also, we have a Bloom in a Day conference that's coming on March the 21st from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm so excited. We have a couple of people who are coming who are just real. Oh my goodness. Sarah McDougall is coming.
Wow.
We also have Mignon Francois. She went from selling cupcakes for $2 or $3 to a $10 million cupcakepreneur.
Wow.
We have Cheryl Pullins, who is iconic branding. And then Alicia Jones, who is my friend and who also found her purpose after losing 80 pounds
Wow.
using a spirit-led diet. So, I mean, I am just incredibly excited about that. And you can go to bloomday.lolajohnston.com to sign up for that free one-day conference. So we have the Purpose Journal, lolajohnston.com/gift, or the Bloom in a Day conference, Bloom Day, BLOOMDAY
Mhm.
dot lolajohnston.com.
All right, family. And listen, you can find her on social media as well. Don't forget, you can find the Bloom Movement and check it out. And of course, you guys, I'm going to have all of this information in the show notes too. So do not worry about it. If you didn't write it down, you can just take a look there as well. Growth Season family, remember, success is not determined by what you've been given in life, but by what you do with what you've been given. And remember, you do not have to be ashamed that we are growing. It's okay. I just want you to know that you are loved. I pray that you're encouraged today by this amazing message and our guest. Go ahead and check her out, and we'll see you guys next time here on Growth Season. Bye-bye.